lazy Sunday right now. Gotta go to a wedding. Navi's, who gets married on a Sunday? Just kidding, Nav, if you listen to this. Navi's younger brother, Joey's getting married to his soon-to-be wife, Erica, I believe her name is. Met her a couple weeks ago. Well, I've known her for a long time, but for some reason can't remember her name. But we're going to start us off like we always do. This is Cracker Brewski. Give it a Brewski. Brewski 1 is it's called Juicy Kitten. It's got cats all over it. It's one of the ones I got from Kings a couple weeks ago. That episode will be out in 3 weeks. This is a hazy session IPA coming in at 4.5%. Yeah, there's kittens all over this can. But it's a hazy session. It's coming in at 4.5, so it should be pretty crushable. Let's see how. Also, I think first time recording with Baby V in the room. Told her she has to be quiet because I'm trying to record. I'm just kidding. What? All right. I just got the look. I'm having trouble. But it is actually really cloudy, though. Super cloudy. Does it have any hops on it? Let's see. I don't see anything here. Oh, I love that. You can hear that like little sizzle from the headphones from the head on this bad boy. Let's crack it open, eh? Let's go. That's actually pretty good. I actually really like that. And it being 4.5% too, that's actually really... That's pretty crushable. And you're not going to get at least, like most hazies when you're drinking them sometimes, if they're like 4s, 5s, 6s, 7s. Should probably start it with like 6s or 7s or 8s or like their doubles. It can get you pretty shitty, but I mean, this is pretty crushable and you're not going to feel like you can probably take like a 6-pack of these golfing and knock them all back and have a good time. It's really good. Super hazy though. Super cloudy. Still some good head to it too. Baby V, try this. Actually, I have a hard soda. I think it might be the first hard soda I've done on the show. That's another one from Kings, but that'll be in a little bit. I'm going to give this I'm going to double the ABV. I'm going to give this a solid 9. It's actually really good. I enjoy this. But I did want, before we do jump into the NHL and NBA playoffs, I did want to say RIP. Jim Brown passed away, the Browns legend. Obviously, one of my... I'm not a Browns fan, but I have a couple buddies that are Browns fans, so it's like, big deal for them. Jim Brown being, one of the greatest running backs to ever play the game. So RIP to him. And, condolences to their family. Also, a wrestling legend passed away this week, the superstar Billy Graham. He was 79 years old. Guy was kind of he was Hogan before Hogan. He was like so many guys were inspired by superstar Billy Graham. Not to get confused with the pastor, I believe, of the same name. But superstar Billy Graham, yeah, he was an influence to guys like Hogan, Dusty Rhodes, Nature Boy, all these guys. Like Billy Graham was. I'll say it like this. Say, I don't know if superstar Billy Graham had social media back then, he would have been bigger than Hogan. He was like that kind of guy. When you listen to his promos and, that sort of stuff, like you realize like he was just like way ahead of his time is what I was trying to say, but I was fumbling my words and I'm not going to edit this shit because I don't give a shit. Just kidding. She just keeps staring at me like I did something. Just kidding. This is, I'm going back. I gotta drink some more of this. You gotta try this one after. Oh, it's good stuff. Also, this episode, I know I started off a little low. This is episode 14. And, my guest today is Anthony Kazlauskas, from Philly. It was another Instagram Spotlight episode. We had a really good time. He's a Phillies fan, obviously, being from out there. So we talked about the Phillies, we talked about the Sixers, Philly cheesesteaks, all this good stuff. I will put the timestamp for the interview in the description. But let's jump into the playoffs. The NBA playoffs. The Lakers down 3-0 Talk about sucking. I'm just kidding. I might have put the curse on the Lakers. I did think after the way they handled Golden State, I thought they would, maybe move on a little bit further, or at least play better than they have. They've played well, but the Denver's just playing like ridiculously. Like every player on that team knows their role, and they stick to it, and everybody does everything so well. Like they're really good in transition. Jokic is just ridiculous. Really thought the Lakers would give him a much better fight. But, I mean, you never know. Crazier things have happened. They're down 3-0. But obviously must win tomorrow for the Lakers. Must win today, though, for Boston. Boston's down 2-0 to Miami. Still can't believe the freaking 8th seed Miami is it's like still in the playoffs right now. I mean, granted, the Lakers are a 7 seed, but the Lakers are also down 3-0 to the number 1 seed Nuggets. And Miami being the 8 seed, Boston being the 2 seed, being up 2-0, that's just kind of crazy. We'll see what happens. I mean, all 3 games are relatively close, except for, game 3, which is yesterday. Denver won 119 to 108, so they lost by 11. And then the game 2 was Denver 108-103. Game 1, I remember Denver getting out to like the huge lead, and the Lakers kind of closing that gap, but yeah, we'll see what happens. For now, it looks like Denver's going to move on, and Boston's kind of got their back up against the wall. This is a must-win in Miami. So Miami took the first 2 in Boston, then Miami, the next 2 are in Miami, and then so potentially Miami could close out there, but we shall see. All right, let's jump on to the NHL playoffs here. What do we got? Florida. Those damn Panthers just won't say die. Like after knocking out Boston, they did. They beat Toronto 4-1. Now they're up 2-0 on the Hurricanes. I think Florida's might be a team of destiny. I'm not trying to jinx them or anything. I mean, but it seems like they could be that the way they're just playing really, really good hockey. They're getting the forecheck. I mean, they're able to do like kind of everything right now. They're not, and it just almost seems effortless the way they're playing. And sometimes, that pulls it out. I mean, that wins it. Then today, Vegas and the Stars play. Vegas is up 1-0 in that series. I'm kind of pulling. I like Jack Eichel. I mean, he's a badass, so I'm kind of cheering for the Knights in that series. Don't really care for Dallas. But, yeah, from what we can see here, it looks like we have Florida's well on their way to making the Stanley Cup final. And Vegas, if they win today, they'll be well on their way as well, being up 2-0. So we'll see how that plays out. But now I got to open up another brewski here. This will be the hard soda. All right. Yeah, so this one I have here, it's called Orange Soda. It's a hard soda from King's. Coming in at 9.5. Okay, here we go. Came to play today. But it looks like the old, one of the orange slice cans, which was one of my favorite orange sodas back in the day, or my orange soda of choice back in the day when I was in high school, because they used to sell them in the vending machines. And do you want to give your score to that hazy?
That's a solid 9.
So, boom, same score. Look at that. If you guys were able to hear that, she said solid 9.
Solid 9.
Mm-hmm. All right, here we go. Let's crack her open, eh? Get in there all nice and deep, like. That was a good crack. It's a good crack, eh? Ooh. That is orange soda-y. I might be able to chug this whole thing. It'll be shitty before the wedding. Just kidding. We'll see. Probably pre-game at Gunners for a little bit, because we got to go pick up Bay. All right. It just smells like orange slice. It's like I'm back in high school, guys. Do you believe in miracles? Holy shit. Fuck, yeah. I'm just going to say Big Fat 10. Holy crap, that's good. Hey, actually, no, it's actually not very good. Baby, you wouldn't like this. I'm just kidding. I just say this is delicious. This is a Big Fat 10. I just say that so I don't have to share. This is holy crap. You got to try this after if I don't finish it. But this is super, super good. I also did a question this week on the Instagram because I was, kind of want to start doing that, each week, just kind of getting you guys involved. Actually, before I do get into that, I did want to mention a big shout out to Noble, Josh and them, Josh, Jimmy, Paul, invited me down to an industry night over there on Thursday. We had a really fun time. We got to, have some beers and, just kind of network. I met the guys at Hardy Hood Distribution. So we're planning an episode together. Talked to the guys at Cask and Hammer and La Habra. Super nice guys. So we're gonna try to work something out there as well, and Barrel and Stave. Like I said, big shout out to Noble. If you guys are in the Anaheim area, go check them out. They put out banger beers, really good stuff. So yeah, give them your business, give them some love. They're really, really good people. But back to the episode. I did want to talk about the questions that I was asking. And this week, I was kind of asking the question, what is the beer? What kind of food do you like to pair with beer? The answer I got the most of was wings. But I want to see if there was anything else, because I figured that would probably be a major one. Excuse me. But some other good answers on there. Baby V put fries. Bone Shack Barbecue, obviously Pit Cook Barbecue. Really good guys. So if they're in Orange County. So if you ever if you want to go ahead and follow them, it's bone_shack_barbecue_OC. Romeo and Juliet put pizza, which was another common one. Buffalo beer influencer Emily, who was on the show before, put nachos, and then there's also burgers on here as well. Those are all solid. I'm trying to think of what I prefer when I'm probably wings. I think wings is a good one. I think burgers is pretty natural as well when it comes to how they go together, beer and a burger. But I really like the pizza too. You can't really go wrong with pizza and beer. And I was trying to think of other stuff, maybe any type of barbecue, kind of like Bone Shack had mentioned. And but yeah, for me, a good smash burger with a solid beer on the side, maybe something crispy like a Pilsner would go really well together. And I'm trying to think of what you can kind of pair hazy with. I would say that would probably go well with barbecue, because they kind of balance each other out, because a lot of times with hazies you can get some citrus in there, or you get some citrus notes. Maybe it'll cut well into the if you're eating pork belly burn ends or something like that. So definitely I would go with something like that. But all great options. I'm gonna keep kind of doing this each week, figuring out what other good questions there would be. And if you have an idea for a question for the show, or if you just want to send questions on Instagram, or if you want a question answered on Instagram, just go follow us at the Taproom. Follow me at the Taproom Podcast on Instagram, and I'll go ahead and I will answer those questions. All right. Well, without any further ado, I'm going to finish this beer, and we're going to jump into the interview with Anthony. I hope you really enjoy it. Super nice guy. Actually, just became a father again last Sunday. So I hope you guys enjoy it. Make sure you stay tuned for the Bro Code article of the week provided by Mr. Barney Stinson. All right, guys, welcome back to the Tap Room. I am your host, Mike, and I'm here with Anthony Kazlauskas. How you doing today, bud?
I'm doing good, man. How you doing?
I'm doing well. Just living the dream, getting through it one beer at a time.
That's probably the best way to get through it, right?
Exactly. Anthony, this is, obviously an Instagram Spotlight episode. He reached out to me early on when it came to the Instagram Spotlight stuff. So, glad we were actually finally able to get some dates worked out. And you got some pretty big stuff coming pretty soon, right? You're going to be a father?
Yeah, so I already have a daughter, so this will be my second daughter, due any day now, honestly. Yeah. So, big stuff.
Yeah, big stuff happening. Hopefully she can stay in there before the show's over.
Yeah. Between that and keeping my dog from barking the whole time, that's what I'm rooting for here.
Yeah, it's all good, man. So, yeah, like I know you listen to the show, so we'll start it off like we always do. We'll crack a brewski.
Absolutely.
Yeah, what are you drinking today?
So I got a couple things here, but I'm going to start out repping my Phillies here with a Sly Fox Slugger, which is
Nice.
an unfiltered Pilsner.
Okay, nice. I'm gonna have to check out the color of that one because that's a pretty cool looking can, though.
Yeah, I know we're a little off here, but it's got the kind of classic Phillies powder blue and maroon there.
I love those jerseys and I love the hats when they wear them.
I know.
Yeah,
they're their best jerseys.
Yeah, they're awesome. Yeah,
what do you got?
Today I'm drinking from Amarok Brewing. It's a South African hazy coming in at 9%. So here we go. It's a double.
Yeah, that's a good one to start with.
Oh yeah.
What do we got here?
Yeah, let's jump on in. It's a pretty cool
We're
looking can.
5.2 on this one.
Oh, there you go. Not bad. Yeah, this one, it has the little dune buggy. Looks like he's on a safari or something like that.
Oh, cool. That is cool.
Yeah, and it's all based off of his dog, Rocco.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, because it looks like a husky. And he's got I guess they're called a mini husky. Didn't even know that was a thing. I have no idea.
I'm guessing there's probably a dog for everything, right?
Oh, yeah, for sure. There we go. Oh, that was a good crack. That was sounding good.
That's sound of the week, right?
Oh, yeah.
I love that you're a glass guy, by the way.
Oh, yeah. Gotta pour it in a glass. Do you like to do like a frosted mug? Do you just do like regular or?
So one of the things I started over the last 3 months was a YouTube channel where I'm trying to go through some like beer education stuff. And one of the things that I've learned in my own education is the no frosted mug because it kind of kills those flavors and all of that. So all three of these beers that I brought, I actually took out of the fridge about half an hour ago to try to get them up to temperature a little bit better so that we can enjoy them a little bit more. Oh,
yeah, for sure. Because I feel like, especially like sometimes like, some people like will put it in the freezer to get it really cold, right away. But I know that kind of takes away some of the carbonation and actually.
Yeah, and it just kills those flavors, and your taste buds don't taste. So that's why you're supposed to drink, Miller and Coors like those at just ice cold, so you don't actually taste it, right?
Yeah, so you can actually get it down. Well, cheers, man. Thanks for being on
cheers.
The show.
Hey, thanks for having me. I'm looking forward to this.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah, that's a good one to start with. It's clean, but you can tell it has that unfiltered taste to it.
Yeah, and it looks a little cloudy-ish.
Yeah, it's got that little bit of cloud there. It's not crystal clear, but yeah, it's still nice.
Yeah, no, that's awesome.
The thing I found, and I don't know if you've noticed the same with kind of those unfiltereds, is you get that little bit of bitterness, that little dank hoppiness that you don't usually get in the Pilsners.
Yeah. And you don't get them, like you said, all that often, like... Because even like some kind of West Coast can be really like hoppy or, stuff like that. You'll get like a lot of IBUs on them, but they're super clear.
Yeah.
But yeah, unfiltered, I feel like unfiltered pilsners you don't see as often.
I agree. I don't know how many I've had. I just kind of started paying more attention to a lot of those finer details. So I'm sure I've run into it here and there, but
yeah. And so you said you were doing some like beer education. How long have you been doing that now? Because I noticed like even on your Instagram, if you want to plug your Instagram, is it Kazoto Photo?
So it's Kazoto Photo, so Kazoto Photo. So that's my photography company's name, and it's a blend of my last name and my fiance's last name because she kind of got me into photography. So kind of a little ode to her there.
Yeah. I saw on your channel. No, you're good. No, sorry about that. I was just going to say that I saw on your channel how you were doing the beer, like, kind of like some education. It looked like you were being a professor and stuff like that.
Cool. So it's one of those things. My background's in photography and I love craft beer, but I'm not super educated on it. So I thought this would be kind of a fun venture where I can create some content, learn some things, and hopefully teach some other people along the way who maybe aren't deep into the craft beer industry and want to learn some stuff. And, there's so much into it. And I don't know about you, but when I first drank beer, definitely wasn't my favorite drink. It was one of those like, I got to find the one I like. Exactly. And there's so many good beers and cool breweries out there that I don't want, people to just be turned off from beer because they had one they didn't like. So it's kind of get them into it, right?
Yeah. I always refer to it as like finding your gateway drug because you got to find your way into craft beer.
It's 100% right. And for me, that's a great example. Like IPAs are not really my thing. Mm-hmm. So the last 2 months, I've just been drinking IPAs to find that gateway IPA where I'm like, oh, that's actually pretty good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's one of those things because not every palate's the same. Everybody's kind of different. They all kind of like different things. But it's one of the things I love what breweries kind of do now is even if they're just like seltzer drinkers, they're getting those people in the door. And then you could be like, oh, you feel like this, you might like that. And, and they can kind of, refer to you to something you may like.
Yeah, 100%. And they're doing a really good job to kind of do that outreach where we're not just your traditional beer that everybody associates it with.
Yeah.
And it's really cool. It's awesome to see that and all these people who have a passion for it trying to get it out to more and more people.
Oh, for sure. And how long have you been kind of into craft beer?
I mean, the scene, I think the craft beer scene has just really exploded over the last 5 to 10 years. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I think like most people, I think we're about the same age. I'm 36. You're around that, right? Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I'd say when we were in our mid-20s, it was kind of not really a thing. You had your craft beers that were kind of your Sam Adams and places like that. Yeah. And the big craft beers. And now you've got all these microbreweries. And I'd say the last 5-6 years, I've really gotten into just exploring some of those. How about you?
It was like, it was probably before I was supposed to be drinking. But I mean, it was like, all there really was out here was like, at least I felt like was Stone. Like Stone was the big one. Like my old roommates, they'd be like, "Hey man, we're gonna go to Stone this weekend down in Escondido, and do you want to come with us, or do you want to bring you back something?" I was like, "Oh yeah, bring me back something cool." It looked, because back then, like you were saying, it was drinking Budweiser or Coors or Miller or stuff like that. I think like that one and like Pyramid. I don't know if you remember Pyramid Hess. It
sounds familiar, but I don't know that I ever had it.
I don't even think they're around anymore. So, but I mean, it was kind of like, it was like, I felt like Pyramid was like, oh, it was a fancy beer. It was like, that's what you kind of called craft beer back then. It was a fancy beer.
Right. And it seemed expensive, right?
Yeah. Or like Newcastle and stuff like that.
Newcastle's a good one. Mm-hmm. That's still a good one.
Yeah, I haven't had. I mean, man, I couldn't tell you the last time I had one. But I mean, you don't really see them. I don't really feel like seeing them in stores all that often anymore. At least over here, anyway.
We still have it. I think it's kind of gotten buried behind a lot of the other stuff. I mean, so we have to go to beer distributors around here. I know you guys can kind of go to any store, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so Pennsylvania is just awful with that. Gotcha. It is what it is, but we have to go to beer distributors. Now they're starting with grocery stores a little more and more.
Okay.
But our beer distributors are just getting overwhelmed with all these different choices, which is awesome.
Yeah.
If you're exploring, but at the same time, if you're looking for something, you're like, not sure where to find that.
Oh, yeah. For sure. And because my mom actually lives not back east, but she lives in the Midwest. She's in Kansas. So they have like those like liquor stores you have to go to. Yeah. So is that the similar situation to you guys?
Yeah. So our liquor stores are state owned too.
Oh.
So they're called a PA Fine Wine and Spirits. So if you need any kind of liquor or wine, you have to go to the state store is what we call them.
Okay.
But yeah, so that, and I don't know they'll ever give that up because of the tax revenue.
No, I bet.
But yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, I mean, if you're ever out here in California, you got to let me know. We'll meet up and grab some good beers.
Absolutely.
And try to take care of all the good liquor stores and stuff like that over here. They got some I always plug is that Louis Liquor in Azusa. That place is like you walk in, there's like 200 or 300 beers you can choose from. And it's like you can make your own 4-packs and stuff like that. So it's phenomenal.
That's one of my favorite things to do. And on my channel and on my Instagram that you've seen, I do some photography. Yeah, that's my background. But a lot of the stuff I'm doing, I'm posting non-paid client stuff. I'm just going to the store, grabbing a 4 or 6-pack that I'm mixing my own and finding cool bottles and cans, and it's a lot of fun to just kind of practice your craft that way.
Yeah, and tell us more about the Instagram too, because I really like that that one you did with the glass, like the glass work that you did.
The smashed bottle.
Yeah, that was awesome, and like even the video like of you putting the whole thing together was awesome.
Yeah, so the channel is to kind of get some exposure and things like that, obviously, but I really wanted to go that step of challenging myself a little bit. So, like I said, I'm going to the beer distributor, and sometimes I'll bring my daughter with me and say, find a cool can, and she'll just go, that one looks cool. Or my fiance's looking around and going, this one could be fun. And so that was a Founders KBS, which normally I love their KBS line of beer. So found this, and I was like, all right, it's chocolate cherry. What do we do here? How do we really get this to stand out? And I just wanted to try to take people through that process of, here's an idea that's outside the box, that it's not just a can or bottle sitting on a plain background. I think one of my goals with this was to show craft breweries, not just drinkers,
of course,
that there's a way to get your name out there. One of the reasons I got into craft beer photography specifically was I got into photography only a couple years ago during COVID because I needed something to do, like everyone. And I'm looking through Instagram and Facebook, and there's all these breweries, and I know some of these people. They're awesome people, and they're just, putting their glass down and taking a picture. And I'm like, like you're kind of doing it, but you're not going to separate yourself that way. And for sure, you can really draw attention to your brand by just going that extra step, just like they do for their beer. Take that extra step for marketing that, it's not their job. They don't know necessarily how to do it. So I wanted to just display, here's things you can do. And, I do those behind the scenes of, here's how you would do it, whether they, choose to do it themselves or want to pay me or another photographer. That's entirely up to them, but it's there for the taking.
Yeah. I mean, and that's cool. I mean, like, I felt like, at least when it came to COVID, there were like, people kind of found things like, things that, they were like, oh, well, I didn't really know I was passionate about something like this. And, when you can find that other kind of outlet, I mean, and that's, just makes things even better.
Yeah. I think, for me, it was photography because you couldn't do much else. In a former life, I was a golf professional, but, so I loved playing golf and going to hit balls, but, couldn't do that because you weren't allowed to be with people and stuff like that. So this was like I can go do this on my own. And, I went and did landscapes and wildlife and stuff like that for fun. And I, have this sales background. I'm like, all right, well, how do I turn this into something now? How do I get paid to do what I'm enjoying doing?
Yeah.
And that's kind of where that stemmed from.
Oh, for sure. Just be able to find another passion like that. And, the ways you can kind of bring that to the world. Like you were saying, like, every bit, a lot of people take pictures of their beer, but to be able to try to, do like little things. That's why, like, sometimes I'll try to, I did that. I just wanted to do something different for the Princess Bride ones. I think I did maybe like a month or so ago, however long that was. But you'll be able to, just doesn't always have to be the same. You can kind of throw in different things. That's why when I saw yours, I was like, man, that looked awesome. And even that other one, I think I messaged you on it, reminded me of like Uncharted a little bit. Yeah.
The Sea Mist, I think that was. I think that's Thimble Island up in Connecticut.
Yeah. I was like, man, the first thing I thought was, man, because I'm such a huge nerd for Uncharted. So I was like, man, it reminded me so much of that. So
I love the Princess Bride stuff. That's, I mean, we can agree they should never remake that movie, right?
If they, that's one I will never watch. If they remake that movie, I will never watch it. They're even like remaking like White Man Can't Jump. I'm like, come on.
Are they really?
Yeah. It's like, there's a trailer out there. I haven't watched it, but I was like, really, man? There are so many great things out there. It just seems like they have to remake everything now.
It seems like a cop-out almost, where they're just not trying to be creative. They're just saying, all right, well, what was popular? What made some money? And how can we grab some of it?
Yeah. It's a cash grab for sure.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate because there's so many creative people in the world. Just do something new. Take a risk.
Yeah, but nobody wants to. They get like everything that comes out in the theaters now has to be some huge tentpole kind of movie.
I mean, you have kids, right? Or at least one?
No, I have no kids from me. I have like nieces and nephews, but that's about it. Yeah.
But like all the Disney movies that they're redoing into live action, and they keep doing it because they make money initially, but they never get good reviews.
Oh, they never do, yeah.
So it's like, are you ruining the brand by doing that, or should you just stick to cartoons?
Yeah. Well, I remember watching, The Lion King?
Yeah.
The new one when it came out. I was in theaters. I was like, oh, I'm so excited to see it. Because I love that movie, obviously, the original.
Yeah.
And it was just that movie was just an absolute dumpster fire to me. Like, I was like, what the hell did you put out?
I think we turned it off about 15 minutes in because I think my daughter looked at me and went, I don't like this. I went, I don't like it either. So let's turn it off.
Yeah. It was like no emotion. And I didn't mean for this conversation to go this way. But you know what? I figured,
we can take it anywhere we want.
Oh, yeah, no, that's true. But I mean, I figured like the way you and I have been messaging each other back and forth, it seems like we got a pretty similar sense of humor.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I think that's the cool thing about, just having beers with somebody. It's, and what I always liked about your show is it's like you're just sitting at the bar and you end up having these conversations that are, go off the rails sometimes that there was no rhyme or reason to start talking about X, Y, or Z. And you had a 30-minute conversation about it.
Yeah. And that's, because I feel like that's where I always wanted this show to go, and obviously like to bring in the brewing side of it and all that sort of stuff. But also, like you were saying, just I wanted to do the Instagram spotlight stuff because it's just, who do you meet at, bars? You don't always meet a brewer at a bar. You don't always meet, an owner at a bar or meet at a brewery. But, you have genuine conversations with people, and especially like when you can throw sports in there too. Because sports, you can never meet each other in your life, but like then you walk into the same bar, you're watching the same game, you're wearing the same hat, and you're like, oh, it's the Braves are playing the Mets today, and go ahead, fuck the Mets. There we go.
Yeah, fuck the Mets. Man.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a little mad you're wearing a Braves hat, but here we are.
Hey, but you know what? Here's how I see it. I'll always cheer for the other NL East teams, except for the Mets, like if they're going to the World Series. And what we can say as being a fan of the NL East is that 3 out of the last 4 World Series, an NL East team has played it.
Yeah.
So, and
it's been a strong division, even when the teams haven't necessarily played great. Yeah. They always step up when it's time, right? Mm-hmm. And I think that those really tough rivalries just make you elevate your game against the other divisions in baseball.
For sure. And I mean, speaking of the Mets, we had a doubleheader today, but we lost the second game, won the first game, so that's all right. But they beaned Ronald, in the first inning. So they knocked Ronald out of the game right off the bat. So
it's not a great way to start it, but
hey, but good news for the Phillies though. With Bryce just got cleared.
He'll be back tomorrow, which is incredible.
Nice.
I think we're less than 6 months from Tommy John surgery.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So I think he'll be in the DH starting tomorrow, and I don't know if or when he'll get in the field this year, but hey, he's a good bat, so let's get him back out there. I
mean, and if you can have a guy like Bryce Harper in your lineup, and especially with an already loaded lineup, I mean, it's just going to take to elevate him even more.
Yeah, and even just having him out there, his energy and his leadership are way up there, and I think everybody else starts stepping up then.
100%.
I think that just makes a huge difference.
Yeah. Because I know like Nola is one of the starters, but was it Nola is one of the starters, and then because I know Thor went to the Dodgers, right? I think
he went to the Dodgers. Honestly, I mean he was. I don't want to say he was a letdown last year, but he wasn't Thor anymore. Yeah. At least last year. I haven't been following him this year, but
and he's just been a rental. He was a rental anyway because they got him at the deadline, didn't they?
Yeah. That's exactly what it was. But we've got Nola and Wheeler are our 2 aces. And then we've got Ranger Suarez, who's just kind of this, will do whatever he needs to play well. And then we've just got kind of this back end that is a little bit rotating. We've got a couple young guys who are waiting in the wings. So we're actually off to a surprisingly okay start compared to what we normally do, because we're usually way under 500 in April, and we actually are. I think we ended up a game over for April, but that's a win in our book.
Oh, definitely, because I know it's like a little. They started the season a little slow, but now they're 2 or 3 games above 500 right now. So I mean, and that's
getting Harper back.
Oh yeah, I just don't want the Mets. I don't care who it is. I just don't want it to be the Mets.
They're an awful fan base.
They're the worst. And I apologize to any listeners.
I can't wait to see all the comments.
Yeah. I apologize to any Mets fans out there. It's not that we don't like. Oh, I mean, you did call Chipper Larry for the longest time, so
we did that too, though. To be honest, I've got a buddy who was the leader of that cheer.
Oh, was he? With the Phillies, though, one thing I've always had a soft spot about them is like those like 2010s teams. When they were just like, they were like Utley and Rollins, and like, they were just, was it Ryan Howard was probably back then. They just seemed like a clutch team back then. It was like kind of like them and like the Giants, the San Francisco Giants back then. It seemed like every other year they were playing for a title. It felt like one of those two teams.
Yeah, it was fun. That 2008 season we won the World Series, which was great. And then we had that 2009 series against the Yankees where, you really wanted to beat the Yankees.
Of course.
So that was kind of heartbreaking, especially with the team we had together. Yeah. And then it was just we went for broke, that 2010, 2011 year, and then it just fell apart for 10 years.
Yeah. Hey, it was kind of around that time that the Braves kind of fell off too, and they just started trading and rebuilding, and they traded everybody. It felt like during that time.
It was weird for both of us because it always felt like we were really strong competition for each other, and it was just kind of like, all right, well, this sucks. Like, what am I going to go to the Braves Phillies game for $5?
Yeah, probably got some cheaper beer during those games too.
They didn't have as good a craft beer in the stadiums back then.
Yeah, I bet. Now out here, it seems like I want to say there's probably about 4 or 5, maybe even more than that. That's probably on the low end of 4 or 5 different types of craft beer out in Dodger Stadium. Because the only time I ever go there, though, is because if the Braves are playing. So, but
the Dodgers are another fan base that are tough.
Oh yeah, trust me, yeah, they're tough to deal with, and I have to live with them. So.
Yeah.
But Angel Stadium is actually really like going there. Just because it's like across the street, there's 2 craft breweries. There's like Carl Strauss, and then there's also Golden Road.
Okay.
Yeah, and they're right across the stadium. So like go right across the street from the stadium, so you could park, walk over to the breweries, have a few beers, and then we'll knock a few back, and then go walk over there.
That's nice. That's a good setup. That's what I always was a little jealous of. Like not Candlestick. Where do the Orioles play? Why am I not?
Oh, Camden Yards.
Camden Yards. Thank you. Jeez. Yeah. They've got that whole little center there that you can just walk into, and there's all the little bars and shops, and it's a cool little inner city stadium. Whereas we've got this kind of segregated area where our stadiums are, and they've built the bar and stuff like that there, but it doesn't have the same feel. It's still a destination of like, I've got to go here.
Yeah. And it's I always forget, is it Citizens Bank?
Citizens Bank is the Phillies stadium. Yeah.
Always looks like a really cool stadium to kind of go to, and like with a lot of history, it feels like
which is crazy because it's really not that old.
Yeah.
It's only 20 years old maybe now at this point. I'd have to take a look, but somewhere I want to say in that 04, 05 range. Yeah. It's a cool stadium. They build it old school, which is why you get that cool vibe from it. Yeah.
That one I always feel like would be like a timeless, because anytime like a timeless kind of stadium, because every time you see it, or ballpark, there in like Petco from down in San Diego is like, I mean, I still haven't been a tourist yet. Eventually I'll get over there to see a game, but the Petco just like you walk in that place, because that place is probably 25, 20, something around there, probably about 25 years old or something like that.
Yeah.
And it still feels like just as cool now than it did back then. And and it's in one of the meccas of craft beer too in San Diego, so you just get everything, any kind of craft beer you want.
That's awesome.
Yeah. One thing obviously I did want to ask you, because from being from Philly, I know there's a certain name for Philly fans. They call them the Philly scumbags. Is that a thing? Is that a real thing? Or
I mean, to the outside world, yeah, that's probably definitely a thing. But we have this real strong sense of pride of, we're just tough. And but I think one of the things that gets overlooked, and when you really talk to fans who come to the stadium, depending on their experience, depending on who they dealt with, you either come in and you go, wow, they're so nice. Like, they gave me a hard time, but then they were like, hey, do you want to have a cheesesteak? And they just handed me one. But then, like any stadium, you get these drunks that are
of course,
just
I get it.
assholes and ruin it for the rest of us. But for the most part, we're going to give you a hard time, but then we're going to hand you a beer and be we're just messing with you. Like, we're here for fun. And I think a lot of it has to do with your attitude towards them too. Yeah. So if you come in pounding your chest, you're putting a target on your back from jump. But if you walk in and you're like, hey guys, like, I hope everybody has fun, but we're gonna get you today. But you're trash talking in a nice way. Nobody's really gonna bother you. Yeah.
Anytime I go to any visiting stadium, for the most part, I just sit there, watch the game, drink my beer, and then just cheer here every now and then, because there are those fans out there that can be, because we have them out here.
Oh yeah, everywhere does.
Yeah. I mean, at least we're not like Mets fans, though, right? So
I've sat with Mets fans at Vet Stadium and Citizens Bank Park, and they were more obnoxious than we were. And the good Phillies fans will tap them on the shoulder and be like, hey man, you should sit down. I'm just letting you know. Like, we get it. You're excited, but why don't you just clap for a little bit instead of getting in everybody's face?
Oh, for sure.
Now, when you go to opposing stadiums, do you wear your gear or do you try to play it low key?
So, if I'm going to a Braves game, I'll usually wear my Braves hat or my Greg Maddux jersey or Chipper Jones jersey. But usually when people see the older jerseys, they're like, oh,
they're classics.
They're like, he's actually a fan. Like, he's not just some guy jumping on the bandwagon. So most of the time that's okay. But if I'm going to because the Braves, now they'll start playing the Angels every year. But before, they were doing they wouldn't play each other like once every 10 years. So if I'm going to a game now, what I'll do is, if I'm not going to just a random game, I'll just wear one of the Braves minor league team hats, like the Stripers or something like that, and then and a craft beer shirt. Because that's one of the things I don't get is being a fan of one team and then going to a completely different game that they're not playing in with your gear on. I'm just
that's always weird to me.
Yeah, you're asking for trouble or something like that. It's
Yeah, it's just a weird thing. So I know you're a Packers fan. My fiance is actually a Packers fan too. But I took her to the Packers-Eagles game last year, the Sunday night game.
Oh, nice.
Because it was hey, this is probably going to be your last chance to see Rodgers in a Packers uniform. So we went. But there were people walking around in Steelers jerseys. And I'm like, you're at the wrong stadium, guys. You didn't think your way through this or something here. I'm going to crack open the second one here.
You got it, yeah. Oh, that was a good one.
I got the mic set up here, so I'm learning to crack it right into the mic.
There you go. Yeah, you just gotta get it right on in there.
So this one's actually from your coast.
Okay.
So this is from Rogue Ales.
Oh, Rogue, nice.
Which is always a favorite of mine. I've always loved the Dead Guy.
Oh yeah.
But so they have their supply drop box, which is kind of their variety packs. This is the Bat Squatch, which is a hazy IPA with this crazy looking super bat. But I was looking at this the other day, and I never noticed this before. One of the cool things on the road cans is, and I don't know how well this will come through,
No, it'll be all right.
but they've got kind of the list of citrus, bitter, tropical,
nice.
and where the flavor profile goes, and then what to drink it with.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Which I thought was a super cool move that I haven't seen a lot of places do.
Oh yeah, there was a brewery, I want to say maybe a couple of weeks ago, but I can't remember what beer it was. But yeah, it had like the pairing, like I think it said to pair it with like smoked salmon or something like that. I was like, man,
this has grilled salmon on it. How about that?
Yeah.
You get white cheddar, grilled salmon, or strawberry shortcake, depending on what meal you're having, I guess.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, and that's like, when you can, it's cool that they can kind of give you that, that extra thing, because then when you're at home, that might tempt you to pick up a can or to buy a can from the brewery. And then you're like, yeah, well, I want to try it with this. So I'm going to go do this. And you're, being able to do those different things.
And I think it's a good way to make sure you're enjoying the experience a little bit more, because
of course,
obviously if you've got these competing flavors, you're like, I didn't like that beer. But if you're eating the, white cheddar with this, you go, oh, like this all tasted really good. I liked that beer a lot.
Yeah.
We've all had those beers that you're out at a pizza place or something. You're like, wow, that was awesome. And then a couple weeks later, you're like, I don't know why I liked it so much.
Oh, yeah. And I mean, and that's cool too, because it might bring people back to that brewery. Like, hey, if they're putting that on their cans, I want to see, what other ones that they have or what else I can pair stuff with. And then, eventually you're having a dinner party and you're with all the people around and doing all that good stuff.
Serving bat squatch at my dinner party.
Exactly. Like I was going to say, beer doesn't really, some beers can age, but I was like, if it's something like that, it's probably not.
I never got into that. Do you do that?
Oh man, not really for me. Like I know some people like really like love it. Like when I first started drinking like craft beer, like I was mentioning earlier about like Stone, my old roommates, they would buy those like farmhouse like ales where you could or the wild ales where you could age them.
Yeah.
But yeah, it wasn't. I've gotten more into farm style, like the wild ales, just the last maybe a year or so.
Okay.
But back then I wasn't. I was like, man, what is that? I was like, it was rough. I was like, this is a little tough to get through.
It can be, yeah.
And it was the same thing for Stone. Like when I first had first craft beer I ever had was a double bastard. And I was like,
okay.
And it was like, I was maybe 19. It was rough to get through. But as I got older, I appreciated, the arrogant bastard stuff, but it was a little tough initially.
Yeah, they can be a little tough. Man, that's actually really good.
Nice. It has a great color to it. It's super cloudy. It's
super cloudy, and it's got this nice... it's kind of this understated citrus where it's there, but it's not super sweet or tart in your face. It's nice. And like I said, that's one of those things I've been trying to get myself more into, the IPAs, and I'm definitely not daring enough to get to the doubles or triples or anything like that yet. I'm working my way through that. But there's some really good ones out there.
For sure. And doubles and like triples, even quads, sometimes though they can be, especially when you get into a quad or even triples, sometimes they can get really boozy. But when they're done right, there's been a few that I've had where like, I think one of them was like a quad in Pure Project. I don't know if you heard that episode, but it was like the brewery hopping episode.
Yeah.
And I puked across the street, and I was like, "This is no knock on Pure. Love Pure. It was a banger of a quad, but I was drinking so many beers that day."
And I tried to plan out the order of which I'm drinking these, because my next one is a much heavier beer that I've got in front of me. So I was like, all right, I think I'm going to go Pilsner, then the hazy, and then I'll go to the heavy one to end my day. Instead of, I think if I went reverse, I would have some trouble.
I think you kind of have to like ease your way into it.
Yeah.
Because I think at one point we've all been at a bar once and we're like, oh, shouldn't have chugged that one.
Or shouldn't have taken that shot or whatever it might be.
Oh, yeah.
But, let me... So this can here, this is called Devil's Ink.
Okay.
So this was one of my photo shoots, and I do the beer tastings.
Yeah.
But when I picked this one up, I just swore it was a stout based off of
The can.
The can art. Yeah, it's just dark, and so this was a barrel aged Imperial Black IPA.
Dang.
This is one of the best beers I've had.
Oh,
This is
really?
a local place called 107, which
dang.
is about 20 minutes from here. But this was awesome. This is 10%, but it was so smooth.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll have to set something up where I send you a couple.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, and I can send
We
you some
do
stuff
a
too.
trade.
Yeah, I'm down. I did want to ask you because you mentioned was that a local craft brewery, like a craft brewery around you? Okay.
Yeah, so I live outside the city now in Bucks County.
Okay.
Which some people listening may know where that is. Some people may not.
Mm-hmm.
But the craft beer scene here has just, like a lot of places, just exploded. There's a brewery every mile and a half, it seems, which is great.
Yeah.
As long as they're all staying busy. And
Of course.
there's literally one. So we just moved about 5 months ago. There's one less than a half mile from my house now.
Awesome.
Which is cool. They're a super small microbrewery called Mad Princes, but some pretty
Nice.
good stuff there.
There you go. And so, you said pilsners are your style. Like, are there do those places, do they have for kitchens, or is there, you said that one's just a microbrew, but are there any ones around like full kitchens, like stuff like that?
So a lot of the ones, so some of them have kitchens, but for the most part, this is a big thing here. They have food trucks come in on daily or
Awesome.
During the weekends type base, and that's it's pretty cool because then you kind of get this rotating meal going on, and it still gets people coming in the doors because you're not without food.
Oh, for sure.
Which is nice. But yeah, usually we've got a pretty good food truck scene out here, which is good too. So you get a pretty cool eclectic mix of different foods. We've got things from cheesesteaks, obviously, we're outside of Philadelphia, but all the way down to Aussie pies and things like that, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
So it really opens it up.
Yeah, I have a stepdad who's Australian, so he loves sausage rolls. I'm sure they sell all that kind of stuff out there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's pretty cool.
Yeah, for any Aussie listeners, sausage rolls.
Cheers, mate.
Yeah. And I did want to talk about Philly food because obviously Philly steaks, but I want to get into that after because you guys had a pretty good draft over the weekend. I feel like the Eagles did.
That was probably the best draft I can remember us having.
Yeah.
Maybe ever. I mean, last year was good because we ended up with A.J. Brown and Jordan Davis, but this draft, I don't know what this guy has on everybody else, but Howie Roseman is just crushing this league.
It's crazy for me. It's you guys just went to the Super Bowl. I mean, granted, it was a loss, but did you guys just load it up? You're on defense, what you guys needed, with was the first 4 picks were all SEC players?
Yeah,
that's crazy.
And I mean, awesome. I'm not going to say that we didn't lose some talent. We definitely lost some guys to free agency with Hargraves going to San Fran, as much as that pains me. Yeah. CJ Gardner-Johnson, it's our safety leaving. But for the most part, we have a really good core of some veterans. And I think one of the things that got lost was, TJ Edwards, who was our star linebacker last year, left to free agency. We had Nakobe Dean backing him up. Best linebacker in college football a year and a half ago. Was just sitting on the bench because he couldn't get on the field. But every time he did, he had 15 tackles. And you're like, all right, well, I think we'll be okay.
You guys are going to be just fine.
So, and then DeAndre Swift coming over. For basically a 4th round pick, I think was what it netted out to be. What a stud move. Yeah.
I mean, you guys are over there killing in the draft, and my Packers can't even draft their first round offensive player. So I'm just like, what the fuck, man?
You just know Rodgers is calling Jordan Love and just laughing, going, "It wasn't me."
Yeah. It's tough, because I mean, you have all these like you had so much like talent. I felt like, you could have got like Dalton Kincaid. You could have got, I know they still got Luke Musgraves from Oregon State, which I really
Yeah.
liked, for that matter. Um, but you had him. There was Michael Mayer from Notre Dame. You had
They could have gotten Jigba.
yeah, they could have got
The
Jigba.
wide receiver.
Yeah.
They could have taken any receiver they
Yeah.
wanted.
They could have taken Jordan Addison too, but no, they let him go
Yeah.
with mother effing Vikings. So
That one actually hurt me. And
Yeah.
there's this weird thing where we just can't stand Vikings
Oh,
fans.
yeah.
And my new neighbor I'm the new neighbor technically.
Yeah.
He's lived here, but
Yeah.
he's from Minnesota, so he's a Vikings fan.
oh, sounds like a terrible guy.
It's funny. He's actually a pastor. Super nice guy. But I know.
My apologies.
Whatever. He's not listening,
Yeah, no,
probably.
just
But like we just have this thing where we can't stand Vikings fans,
Mhm.
where they just seem like sore losers every time you deal with them.
Mm-hmm.
And they got Addison. I'm going, well, they still have Kirk Cousins, and
Yeah.
they're always good enough to play a couple games at night. So there's all their losses.
Boom. There you go.
And there we're at.
Yeah. And that was like a perfect segue because I was just going to say talk about the teams we love to hate. And so we found out we both
They're one of them.
And we both hate the Vikings, so that's one. And the Mets.
So the Vikings obviously aren't in the NFC East.
Yeah.
Who's a team outside of your division that you can't stand?
Uh,
I know you're going to say Cowboys.
Oh,
but
yeah. Cowboys and Niners.
Yeah, okay. So the Niners.
Yeah. Both those teams can just never be around anymore, and I'm good with that.
Yeah, one of my good friends from years ago is diehard Niners fan, and basically after that NFC Championship game, I lost all respect for Niners fans.
Yeah.
Just the constant complaining,
Mhm.
like they weren't allowed to dress a third quarterback, drove me nuts.
Yeah. I don't get it, man. The Niners have always been like that. And then the Cowboys, I was going to try to say something nice, but I can't. But I just can't do it. I mean, I never liked Troy Aikman. I mean, even now.
They're just bad people.
Yeah. Really. I mean, I remember Aikman, though, like, anytime I watched, like, the telecast when he was covering a Packer game, it was never something that the Packers did right. It was something that the other team did wrong.
Yeah.
It's like the guy could have, had a 99-yard kick return for a touchdown, and he would have somehow made it about the other team, the kicking team.
Well, the kicker fell down, and that's why.
Yeah.
I feel like he's gotten better with the pride thing over the last couple of years, but yeah, we always had that with Joe Buck, where we're like, he's always against us, but I actually think he's a damn good announcer.
He's pretty good.
And he's so multifaceted.
Oh yeah, and it was weird not having Buck do the World Series this year.
Right?
Yeah, that was
so strange.
Yeah.
Now I think, Christ, who did it?
It was
he did a great job.
It was Smoltzy and that kid. I can't remember what the kid's name is though.
Yeah, I didn't love Smoltz. I thought he was kind of a pain.
Yeah,
but
unless you're a Braves fan, I think the Smoltz is kind of a pain to everybody else out there.
He kind of comes off pompous when he's announcing.
Yeah.
And it is what it is. He's earned that right, I think. But whoever the play-by-play guy was, and I was it Joe Davis?
I think it was Joe Davis. Yeah,
Joe Davis. I thought he did a great job.
Oh, I think it was phenomenal. Yeah, I think he did a great job.
Yeah, he was as good as I could have expected from the first year of somebody not named Joe Buck doing it.
Definitely. Who was so I gave you my team. So outside of your division, is it the Vikings or is it any other team?
It's the Vikings are definitely in that conversation. I gotta hate the Patriots.
Yeah, I can see that.
Any Boston area team, especially with my Sixers playing them right now, it looks like it's a pretty tight game in the first right now. So
there you go.
I've got a scoreboard up in the corner here of my attic space.
There you go.
But the Boston teams, I feel like we always have this just harsh rivalry with, and so the Patriots. Outside of that, there's nobody that I really can't stand outside of the division. It's definitely the Vikings.
Yeah,
100%. Outside of that, I don't know that there's anybody that I just can't stand. The Niners now. I didn't hate them before. I actually liked them before, and now they're dead to me.
There you
Not
go.
not that they care, but
Yeah.
I'm done with them.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean that's really it. I can't think of anybody that just rubs me the wrong way, but I mean Cowboys for sure.
Yeah.
That's just a problem.
Yeah. And because even like the NFC North for me, I like obviously the Vikings and the Bears, but like I have like a soft spot for the Lions now because I'm like, they've been so bad for so long. And I'm like, I just want them to just be okay. Like but honestly, it seems like, is it Dan Campbell? Or their head coach?
Dan Campbell, head coach, yeah.
Yeah, like he's doing a phenomenal job there, I feel like. They drafted really well this year, too. They were one of the teams I felt that did really well. I thought it was like the Phillies, the Texans. I said the Phillies, sorry. The Eagles, the Texans. and I felt like the Lions drafted really well.
Yeah, I thought the Lions had a good draft. The Texans have made some crazy moves to move around.
To get the first two of the first three picks? Yeah.
That was wild that they said, all right, well, we're going to do this. And then all of a sudden it's like the Texans are on the clock. What the hell just happened here?
I thought I was in draft day with Kevin Costner.
I know. I think I texted my buddies. I was like, sprinkled a little fairy dust on it. So my fiance always laughs at me every year for the first day of the draft. I wake up and I put that movie on and I just loop it like 3 times.
I do
before.
It too.
I love that.
I do the same thing.
Like Vontae Mack, no matter what.
Yeah. Was it? Well, they say he turned like whatever it was, like how many picks into like 5 first rounders, or whatever it was. He's like, He's like, no, that deal's off the table.
Yeah. We live in a very different world than we did 2 minutes ago.
Exactly. Oh, I gotta love.
But
Costner.
it's not a great movie, but it's great at the same time.
Yeah, it's because it's kind of like. It's kind of like Christmas movies, I feel like. If draft day is on, I'm not just going to watch draft day. But if it is draft day or draft weekend, I'm going to throw that movie on, just like you would. Like, we're not going to watch Christmas movies in August. So I mean, like, that's going to... I don't never ask you, are you a college football fan?
Not as much as some other sports. Like, I've always liked college basketball.
Okay.
College football... I'll watch, but I don't have a team.
Gotcha.
So I went to Temple, and we're just not very good at football.
Yeah. Basketball for a while, though?
Basketball, for a while, we were good.
Yeah.
But yeah, football, I always kind of root for them and hope they pull the upset, but it's just kind of we're not really doing anything. It is what it is. It's hard to get any big recruits coming to an inner city school.
Yeah.
So that's just a tough task for any coach or recruiter. Kind of root for Penn State. Like if they're playing somebody, I'll root for them. But outside of that, I just want everybody to have fun, right? I just want to see a good game. Yeah,
for sure. I mean, honestly, like one of my favorite times, I love to watch the SC play, but I mean, I love just if I can, if I can go down, sometimes I'll go visit my cousin in Arizona because sports betting is legal there. It's not legal.
Oh, you guys don't have sports betting?
Not in California. It's the yeah. It's like running this place. I'm just kidding. I probably shouldn't have said that.
Might have to edit that.
Yeah.
40, 49, 37.
41. I'm just going to put a bleep over it. 49. I'm just going to go beep. It'll be all right. And for everybody listening, they're going to be like, oh, man, what did you say?
Yeah, exactly. Tune in next week.
Exactly. But now I lost my train of thought there. Sometimes that happens.
College football, sports betting.
Football. Yes, betting on sports. If you can, I used to love to go to Vegas and stuff, but when I go, I don't gamble. I don't play the tables or anything like that.
Right.
What I'll do is I'll sit in the sports book and I'll probably take, $100 for each day. I'll bet put $100 worth of parlays and sit there, watch sports and drink beer or drink a whiskey.
And that's a good day, right?
Yeah. Because at least if I win, if I win, I keep playing. Then if I lose, then whatever, I'll save I had another $100 for the next day. So
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, it's the dream.
Now you're a big hockey fan, right?
Yeah, I love hockey. My Avalanche just got eliminated
Mm,
yesterday. That was
that's right.
man. And that was the day I was talking to my uncle about it because I've kind of converted him into an Avalanche fan. And he was just like, "Man, they just won the cup last year. How are they playing this bad?" I don't like making excuses. I don't like, if your team plays
Right.
bad, your team plays bad. But it just felt like everything that could go wrong for them this year went wrong. It was like,
Yeah.
your captain didn't play 1 second of the entire season.
Right.
And then there was the whole thing about Val Nichushkin in the hotel room with some chick and she was drunk. And then all of a sudden he wasn't there and he got taken away by police. Like, what is going on right now? Everything.
That's a lot of things going on.
Yeah. And plus they couldn't stay healthy throughout the entire year either. It felt like I think they said they had 54 different injuries throughout the entire year, but like there were people that missed time. It was crazy. But
I think that's probably the biggest thing that goes, overlooked for any sports team who succeeds.
yeah.
It's how healthy did they stay, or if somebody got hurt, did that next person just play way above their head?
Oh yeah.
And help them succeed. But most times, if people get hurt,
Mhm.
you're not going to go far.
Oh yeah. And I feel like, like we were talking about just before we started recording about Embiid. I feel like he's such a vital. He is the piece when it comes to that team.
Yeah.
It's not like he's just it's not like you're just missing a 6-man off the bench. You're missing the guy.
Right. I mean, he's probably MVP this year.
Yeah.
I'll make that argument. I've been making that argument for 3-4 years now that he should have been MVP. So
Yeah.
I'm hoping he wins this year. I think he is. But the offense runs through him.
Oh, yeah.
And more than anything else, and I think this is one of those things that the Jokic fans or lovers underestimate about Embiid, where they're like, man, he draws a lot of fouls. That's a big part of why I think he is MVP, because I think Jokic gets to the line like 5 times a game, something like that. Embiid's there 12 times a game, and that's just shooting fouls.
Yeah.
And then so he's putting the other team in foul trouble right off jump, and I think that's where we're going to be in trouble here playing Boston without Embiid tonight. Is you don't have that guy who's wearing down their guys. So we've got Paul Reed and PJ Tucker, who are these high energy guys, but they're not drawing a lot of fouls. They're probably causing a lot of fouls, honestly.
Yeah. And to kind of back your point though on like drawing those fouls, like people, like where were these people like talking about like Shaq way back when? Like Shaq was at the line, I felt like 20 times a game. It felt like most days when he
and he was a terrible free throw shooter.
Yeah. I mean,
Embiid's 84%.
Yeah. And that's one of the things I love about Embiid. He's like, I honestly feel like he's one of the last like kind of true centers out there.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with that.
They're like even some of the fives that play now, they're like, they're obviously they're more athletic, and I feel like Embiid's super athletic, but they're not like as big and like as physical, I feel like, as Embiid is. Or like the one I love Sabonis because I loved his dad as a kid. Arvydas Sabonis when he played for the Blazers.
Yeah.
Because he always played I think he played the best defense against Shaq that anybody could.
And I think you're right, because I think he was so technically sound, because I don't think he was the most athletic guy, but he was, I'm big, but I know how to use my positioning and my size against a guy who should, by all accounts, just dominate me.
Yeah.
And if we looked at the stats, he probably did dominate him, but not as much as he did other guys.
Yeah. Not like guys like Vlade Divac or something like that, where Shaq would barely, take a step back and, Vladdy's on the floor. So,
we're making some wild claims now about the stats, but see if anybody fact checks us.
It'll be all right.
Just have another beer.
Yeah. Everybody's an armchair quarterback, and, I would always call them statologists.
Statologists. I love it.
Oh, man. So what's the next one you got?
So this is another local one. I was trying to rep a lot of the local beers today, but I couldn't pass up the Rogue. So this is Forest and Maine, which is are they an Ambler? I think.
And so
So
they're in Maine.
No, Forest and Maine is the name of the company.
Gotcha. Okay.
They're actually in Ambler, Pennsylvania, which is about 20-ish minutes from where I am now.
Nice.
So this is the Empty Sea Baltic Porter. So this is an 8%. Looks strong.
Love a good
We'll
porter.
see what happens. Yeah, me too. So my number one choice will always be kind of the stouts and porters more than anything. Obviously if it's a hot day out, I'm going to have to go with something a little lighter if I'm sitting on the beach. But for the most part, if I can find a good stout or porter, that's where I'm going.
That's so funny that you mentioned that. I actually was talking to the guy from Amarok this past Saturday when him and I were recording. We were talking about how when the seasons kind of come, springtime is kind of like hazies, like there's a ton of hazies, stuff like that. And then, like summer, like you see a lot of pilsners, lagers, stuff like
wheats
that.
And things like that. Yeah.
It's more like floral kind of stuff. And then you see like the West Coast IPAs too. But then of course, in like the fall, winter, that's when you get those stouts, that really kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, this has winter written all over it, right?
Yeah.
You can't see through that at all.
Oh yeah. And that's how you know it's probably going to be delicious.
Yeah. I'll give it a minute to settle. But I think one of my favorite times is probably that fall time where you get in your Oktoberfests. And, the bourbon ales and things like that coming out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Are you drinking something different or is that the same?
Oh, no. Yeah. Because I was, for listeners.
Oh, that's right. We were talking about that. Yeah.
I told Anthony before the show, I was like, I thought, because I had a 4-pack of a mixed pack from Amarok and I was drinking it. And I thought I grabbed that one, but I grabbed one. It was all the same beer. So.
I didn't mean to blow up your spot there.
Oh, no, you're good. I fudged it up because normally, even if we were doing something like this, I would have introduced, I would have said oh, I'm drinking this one or drinking that one. But yeah, I fudged up.
It happens. It happens. Yeah. We all do it. It's a Monday.
Oh yeah. It's always say Garfield hates Mondays, but but if we can, the cool thing is because I've been kind of recording on Mondays lately. For
me too.
The Instagram spotlights and being able to enjoy something like this on a Monday to make a Monday more enjoyable. I mean, it doesn't make Monday most times you're like, fuck off Monday, but now you're like, hey, Monday, hey, all right.
Yeah, Mondays feel like that day where you just kind of sleep through it, where you're like, all right, let me get the things I need to get done, and then I'll get into it on Tuesday, right?
Yeah.
And that you're just kind of going through the motions. But yeah, I started recording stuff on Mondays too, whether it was a full shoot or doing a short for YouTube or something like that. Just I need to do something.
Yeah.
There needs to be something happening creatively to
for sure.
keep me going.
And when you did that KBC one, I know because the clip is, it's obviously it's on Instagram. It's not a super long clip or anything like that. But I'm just it's you make it look so easy. So I'm how quickly did he do that?
So the whole shoot, let me try to think back to this. So for those videos, and if you go to my YouTube channel, it's a full video that, it's edited down to about 7-8 minutes of kind of walking through my thought process and then doing the shoot. But overall, just that shot, that smashed bottle shot, probably took real time about 45 minutes.
Wow.
But that doesn't include, I had to soak the bottle overnight so that I could peel the label off because when I smash the bottle, I don't want the label to break. I want it to be a clean label that I'm putting on top of it.
Yeah.
And I'll send you the photo I don't know if you want to put it up on the screen or anything like that. But yeah, so I think that's one of the hardest things that I've had to learn over just the last 2 years of all the work that goes into making something look easy.
Oh yeah.
Or, I'm not going to step up on my preacher box here, but I think a lot of people see what's on social media and they go, look how good that is, or look how awesome this thing is. Why can't I do that?
Yeah.
Or how come mine don't look like that? And honestly, there's a ton of work that goes into making something look
Oh yeah.
so easy.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I when I would do the edits and things like that for the photos, which I think I stopped putting up on the YouTube because it was kind of just a drag. But editing one photo sometimes can take 45 minutes to an hour, depending on how in depth it is.
Yeah.
But sped up to 30 seconds, everybody's like, oh, look, I could do that. And it's like,
Yeah.
it takes a lot more than what I'm showing you. There's a lot of in-depth stuff there. But yeah, and just the planning. And that's something that a lot of people, I think, overlook. That, on the video, it looks like I just smashed up the bottom. I just kind of da-da-da-da-da.
Yeah.
I drew the whole thing out ahead of time and said, here's how I want it to look.
Yeah.
Here's where I want things placed. And then you have to just make it happen and hope it looks the way you wanted it to originally.
Oh, of course. And that's why I commend everything that you're doing with all that stuff, because you make it seem like it's super easy. But I mean, and I know obviously some of the stuff that I do isn't nearly as when it comes to the pictures I post and stuff like that, isn't nearly as intricate as what you're doing.
Sure.
But I mean, but it does just the background stuff, whether it's editing or whether it's trying to put together a video for a Sunday's episode or anything like that.
Yeah.
It has stuff people see it and they're like, "Oh man, that looks super easy." I'm like, yeah, well, it took me a few hours to get it all out of the way. But yeah, some people think it is just a minute, but that's one of the things I love to do too, and that's what when I talk to either brewers or
Sure.
or we can have a conversation like this, like an Instagram spotlight episode, and we can talk about all the stuff that you're doing, or other guests are doing. Even going back to Lydia, I think that was episode 3 with the craft candles and stuff like that.
Yeah, that was cool, and that was a cool idea.
Yeah.
I loved that.
Yeah, and she's in. I think she's not in Philadelphia, but she's in Pennsylvania.
She was. I don't think she's terribly far from me, actually. From what I remember listening.
Yeah, and that's pretty. I mean, that's how cool is that? You can kind of make that connection, and then if pick up some candles or or go down to to the Oak Flower Brewing Company, stuff like that. And one of the reasons I love doing this is because it may motivate somebody that hey man, I don't know, I've always wanted to kind of try this, but I'm on the fence about it. And and then I see your stuff, and it's man, I want to get to that level eventually, because I mean I like the stuff that I do. I'm not knocking the stuff that I do when it comes to the Instagram posts, but I just want it to keep growing. You want your stuff to keep growing.
And I think a big part of it is, take those chances and try things, and don't get discouraged right away. And I'm not talking just you, anybody. I'm talking to the world of audience who's listening to the show here. I didn't get good just from picking up a camera and going, I'm good at this, right? It's been 3 years since I picked up a camera for the first time. It was my fiance and I went to a sunflower festival during COVID because she loves sunflowers, and she always owned a nice camera, and I've never touched one in my life.
That's cool.
My best camera was my phone. And she's walking around. I'm like, hey, can I try? And I probably took 100 photos.
Yeah.
And 99 were absolute trash. Nothing in focus and dark and bright. But one photo came out awesome. Yeah. And I was hooked.
Yeah.
And then I just spent all this time learning the craft and practicing it. And, I'd sit in my dining room in our little apartment at the time of just, here's a beer can, and I'd just take a photo, and then I'd change something, and I'd take a photo and I'd change something and go, that's it. That's what I want it to look like.
Yeah.
It's practice. And, whether you're making videos like I'm trying to do, or you're taking photos, the first 100, 200, they're going to suck. People aren't going to like them, watch them, unless you just get lucky and you just hit a home run with something.
Yeah.
But just keep doing it, and every time try to make one thing better.
Yeah.
So I just posted on the YouTube channel a new trailer. So I kind of rebranded the channel a little bit to go not just photography, more just all encompassing beer.
Okay.
But last night I recorded and I'm playing it for my fiance, and it took 4 takes to record a minute and a half thing because I just kept screwing up the script. I have it all written out in front of me, and I would just screw up and I'd go, fuck.
Yeah.
And I'd look down, and then I'd just look at the camera with a smile and start.
Nail it.
And she goes, she's like, what the hell are you doing? Like, how do you just, she's like, how do you just turn it on? I'm like, it's the only way I can do it, because if I walk away, I'm going to just screw it all up again.
Oh, for sure.
So I just have to like go right back to it. She's like, it's crazy.
Yeah. You know, it's crazy too. Like, cause there's times like when I'm recording, like I'm doing it, like cause you know how I do the intro for the show. And stuff like that. I'll be recording the intro and I'll be like, I think I could throw a little something extra in there or say this, you know. I think
the worst thing you can do, right?
Yeah. And there was like, and I think it was yesterday's episode. I was like, yeah, you know what? I'm gonna, because I don't know why I've been rewatching Talladega Nights like religiously lately.
What a good movie!
Yeah. So I think I even threw it in at one point in the intro for yesterday's episode. I was like 6 pound, 8 ounce infant baby Jesus.
I like to picture my Jesus in a rock band.
Yeah, classic.
What a good movie.
Yeah, it's so good. I mean, like everyone's like all through that. I think I even quoted Dodgeball yesterday. So
they're coming out with a second one of that.
I am excited about that. Like,
yeah,
that one, I'm pretty stoked about it. And
I think.
Oh, go ahead.
I think that's going to be good, because I think that's it. Depending on the cast they bring back, I think they're good enough to keep it on the same level without trying to go too absurd. Yeah. Where you're like, all right, you went over the top for over the top's sake. Like, we're playing dodgeball in space. Yeah. It's like, no, you're not.
Yeah. The one I was excited about, and this is I know I'm going way off topic here, but they were talking about doing the original, like was it an origin story for Disney Plus about frickin' Perkus Power from Heavyweights. Do you remember that movie? It was like,
Tony Perkis.
Yeah, I was like, if you do that, I'm in. Like, just I don't care what it's going to cost me to go see that movie, or if I can just stream it, that's cool too.
What a good movie that is.
It's such a classic. Like, and I miss those.
And for any of our audience under 32 years old, go watch Heavyweights.
Yeah. You got to watch Heavyweights. It's so. I love when he's just throws the glass down. He's walking. And he's like, oh, and he's trying to get across. And people can't see me, but I was trying to make the face a little bit.
That's such a good and underrated movie. I feel like it's kind of like a cult movie at this point.
It's like, because it was like one of those 90s like comedies, but it was a Disney movie, and they don't,
which is crazy.
Yeah, I mean, it was like that. Like I remember Heavyweights, like Man of the House with Jonathan Taylor Thomas.
Yeah, way
back when, all those different TV shows that we're going way off on, but. Hey, that's what happens sometimes. Like, and I'm going off. I'm going to go off again. Here we go.
I love it.
Anytime I think of Philly, I will always think of Boy Meets World.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like, growing up as a kid, obviously, who didn't love Topanga? Sorry, sweetheart. I just know Topanga was my first love.
A buddy mine actually made out with her once.
Son of a bitch.
Yeah, she was smashed at a bar and just walked up to him.
There you go.
Yeah.
Oh,
it is what it is.
Yeah, I forgot to. Speaking of my girlfriend, Vero, I wanted to tell you, because you said your wife loves sunflowers. So, like, my girlfriend loves sunflower. So it seems like we're like, are we like the same person? I feel like, kind of,
just on different coasts.
Yeah.
Just, if your girlfriend, wife, what?
Girlfriend, yeah. Wife one day.
I'll send you a print. I have a pretty good sunflower print that I took.
Okay.
I'll send it over to you.
I'm down. She'll love that. Anything sunflower, she's all about. But man, this has been a blast for me, man. This has been
a good time.
Yeah,
this is really good, by the way. This is another one that I'm gonna have to probably send your way.
Sounds good to me.
Because I know you like some stouts and porters too.
Oh yeah. Well, if I can throw in one, and my brother would always tell me he'd be like, "Oh, you're gross. You're drinking Guinness during the summer." Like, but it is what it is.
I mean, those dry Irish stouts, I'm always a fan.
Oh yeah, same. I like Guinness. Don't get me wrong. I love Murphy's more. I've always been like more of a Murphy's guy than Guinness.
So this year is the first time I actually tried Murphy's, and it was the first thing I said. I was like, "Oh, this is better."
Yeah.
It's like it's got a little bit like creamier.
Mm-hmm.
It's got more body to it.
Oh,
like I
for
feel
sure.
like Guinness is. I like Guinness.
So do I.
You know, I don't think either of them are world beater beers, but they're good.
100%.
But I think Guinness is thinner.
Yeah.
That's kind of the feeling I get, and then the Murphy's has a little bit more body, a little bit more creaminess, which is I love that.
Yeah.
You know, it's probably not for everyone, but yeah, I'm 100% on that.
Oh, for sure. I mean, the only thing is when I do have my mustache, like, and I do take a big old gulp out of it, it's like, just covered on there. And then my girlfriend's like, what's going on over there? So.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah. Listeners, you can take that as you. I'm just kidding. That was a joke. But being from Philly, and I mentioned it earlier about before we finish up, Philly cheesesteaks. Obviously, I'm a huge Philly cheesesteak fan. I try to make them myself when I can. It's just obviously can't get like the fresh shaved ribeye like you do out there,
right?
But like I'll get some pretty decent stuff though from Trader Joe's. I don't know if Trader Joe's is a national brand. Okay, is it?
Yeah, we got Trader Joe's.
Oh, awesome. Love Trader Joe's. But they have like the shaved ribeye steak.
Yeah.
So I'll get that, and that's usually pretty good. Or maybe from Costco, sometimes they'll do like if you special order it, they'll do the shaved ribeye. But being from Philly, I'm assuming you're a cheesesteak fan?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I am.
I mean, I feel like it's like you got to be baptized in, either Cheese Whiz or,
I think most of the area is, there's a few people who are like, yeah, it's fine.
Yeah.
Like but I also think it depends on where you go.
Yeah.
But there are some places that are overrated, and I think they are what they are, right?
Yeah.
Are
you
I don't know if you're going to ask I am, but 9 times out of 10, I'm going to go provolone over Whiz.
I'm an American bird. I like the American.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's fine. But normally I'm going to go provolone, fried onions.
Okay.
And we're, ready to rock there.
There you go. And do you have a favorite spot?
So there's 2 spots that I really like, and for the people listening across the country, it's not Pat's or Gino's.
Yeah.
Those are tourist traps.
I love it.
Don't go. I mean, you can go there to say you went there.
Yeah.
That's fine. But don't. And it's a fine cheesesteak. There's nothing wrong with it, but that's not going to be the best cheesesteak in Philly. For me, there's 2 places. It's either Jim's, which I want to say is down on South Street or 2nd Street. I don't remember now. It's been a while. And then there's Steve's Princess Steaks, which is awesome too.
I've heard Steve's is great.
Steve's is awesome, and they've got a couple different locations, so you can usually get to one of those 2 places. Steve's is probably a little easier to find than Jim's. You have to kind of be in town to get Jim's.
Okay. I've also is it John's Roast Pork? I heard theirs is really good.
That was the next thing I was going to say. If you want the real Philadelphia meal, it's actually a roast pork sandwich. Yeah. So it's roast pork, broccoli rabe, provolone cheese.
Yeah, and that's I've heard that, and I've always wanted to try one, but I mean I wouldn't know. I have to like look up, try to find my own recipe, but it's obviously not the same of being over there and having it. So,
well, when you guys coming out to the East Coast,
I do.
I'll take you.
Yeah, I do have some family in Maine. I do want to get out there sometime soon. Have you ever been to Maine?
No, it's actually on our list. So my fiance is a skier, and she got me into it in the last 2 years.
Nice.
But we didn't get to go this year because she was pregnant, obviously, during the winter. So it just wasn't worth the risk. Even though she's a decent enough skier, she wasn't going to fall. But it's one of those things, like, you never know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
It's better to be safe than sorry. So we've been talking about trying to either do like Maine or actually go out towards you guys and do like Utah next year.
Yeah.
And see where we can catch some good mountains.
Yeah, my cousin was just out in Park City, Utah.
Okay.
And it was snowing. She said it was gorgeous. So that might be the way to go. And then if you want to just take a flight, maybe a couple more hours that way, you're here to have a beer or 2.
So when you go out to your breweries, because you were asking about the food scene at the breweries, what's the scene like at yours? Is it kitchens? Is it food trucks? What's that like?
I think it's a good mixture of both. Depending
Okay.
on where you're going though, too. Like, say if you were out here, like, say if you were flying out, for a weekend, and I'd be like, all right, well, I'm gonna take you to Green Cheek, which is they have like a Sunset Beach location, and it's like
Okay.
it's on the water. Like you get like food or whatever, like food and your beer. But then I'd be like, all right, well, say if it was a whole weekend, it was Saturday, I'd be like, well, I'm gonna take you out to Murrieta, which is about an hour 15 with no traffic.
Okay. Yeah, which is always traffic,
Yeah,
right?
always traffic. Yeah, always traffic. And they have amazing beer, great can art, like, and a really like phenomenal food. So, and they
Okay.
have an arcade in there. Like it's all 90s.
Oh, that's
stuff,
fun.
too. Yeah, it's all
That's cool.
Yeah, it's all 90s stuff too. Nothing like new. It's like old Blitz video games and like Marvel
Okay.
versus Capcom 2 or X-Men or stuff
Mortal
like that.
Kombat and
Yeah.
NBA Jam
Yeah, and a ton of pinball machines, and like they have.
oh,
like,
beautiful.
Yeah, and they have like these. They make these amazing beers. Like I'm Jeff Keeson. If you're listening, I'm trying to get you on the show forever. So if you ever listen, then please come on. But he's the owner and one of the owners of It's called 8-Bit Brewing. So it's all like Nintendo based.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So they do beers like they just did one this week called Dark Forces. It was a dark lager, and it has like Darth Vader on there. They did Jurassic Tart.
That's awesome.
Yeah, all these like really cool ones. I don't know if you're. Do you play video games at all?
I used to when I was younger, and
it's all
I
good.
just, haven't gotten back into it.
Yeah.
I still play. We have a, one of the old Sega Genesis consoles with all the preloaded games.
Awesome.
I don't even remember the term used.
Yeah.
But my fiance whoops my ass in Mortal Kombat and stuff all the time. It's brutal.
She sounds like an awesome woman.
Oh yeah, she's like, oh, I'm really good. And I'm like, yeah, I used to be pretty good. And
Yeah.
I think the first time we played, I don't know that I actually touched her. And
Yeah.
I was like, oh no,
Yeah.
I'm not good at this.
Fatality, big time.
yeah. Yeah.
No, but yeah, there's
but yeah.
so much good stuff like out here when it comes to that stuff. So if you're ever out here, I mean, I will, we'll go to Brewery X too. They have where my brother works. I know.
I was say it's your brother's place.
Yeah, I
right?
was gonna say everybody probably knows that on the show because I shamelessly plug him all the time.
Yeah, but let's plug it now. So.
Yeah, but they have like I was just there Saturday. I was gonna say what day is it again?
What's it matter?
Yeah. As long as there's a beer in my hand, who cares?
Well, I'm good.
Yeah. Was it Saturday? They had an X-Co, which is like their version of like Coachella, but it was just kind of like, there's some country bands, we were having a bunch of drinks. So like they have a pepperoni jalapeno, like thin crust pizza. It's like New York style. And
That sounds good.
It's phenomenal. Like that. And their cheeseburgers, like they have these chili lime wings. They have all these different things. They're so, so good. So
Oh, that sounds
we'll
good.
take you to, and it's crazy within probably a 10-mile radius. No, I don't even say 10 mile, but within a 5-mile radius of Brewery X, there's, 20 breweries probably. So yeah, you could just hit
I think
them
that's
all.
just the way the world is right now.
Yeah.
I think there's just so many, and it's great.
It's phenomenal. Yeah.
As long as they keep busy.
Oh yeah.
That's all I'm hoping for is
Yeah.
that these places keep getting customers.
Oh yeah. And that's the best part about it. Like, being able to, as long as you're putting out a good product, obviously you do need that,
Right.
that kind of can artwork too, just because, sometimes like you were saying earlier, how you and your wife and your daughter go to the thing and you have them pick one. They're picking the one that they think looks cool.
100%.
Yeah.
Almost every time they'll be like, oh, that.
Yeah.
And I always laugh because my daughter goes for she's 6, so whatever's the most insane can art is
Yeah.
what she's going to grab. And it's always like the double IPA or triple IPA.
Yeah.
But part of my show is, do the photography and then do the tasting.
Yeah.
And I'm like, hon, you got to
Yeah.
choose something different because like my whole
Because
goal is to promote these beers.
Exactly.
And the last thing I need is to go like this,
Yeah.
take a sip and go,
Yeah.
oh my goodness.
and dad's gonna be shit faced after a couple.
I'm like, you need to pick something I'm going to like or at least can pretend to like.
Yeah.
Because it's not their fault. I don't like a double IPA.
Yeah. I've had some people that reached out to me and they're like, are you like, do you really enjoy all these beers? I was like, well, I kind of like, there are times when I go to breweries and I'll try them beforehand. I won't rate them,
Right.
but I'll try them beforehand because, like, obviously, like I love being able to give an honest score, and I will give an honest score, but I'm also not gonna shit on somebody's like livelihood.
Right.
Yeah, I won't ever do
Yeah,
that.
I think that's huge because just because you don't like it doesn't mean it's not good. Right?
Exactly.
It's such a subjective,
Yeah.
subjective
Yeah, it's
thing. And obviously they made it and other people are drinking it. So there's something good behind it.
yeah. Everybody's palate's different.
Right. And that, like, when I do my beer tastings, even the ones that I don't love, I'm like, all right, pick out the good notes and highlight those because that's going to hit home for somebody.
Yeah.
And these brewers or owners who are both, they put their heart and soul into making this product.
Oh, for sure.
And as long as they're not assholes, like, promote it, so to speak.
Yeah, of course. I mean,
give them some love.
Yeah. Like this weekend, because before we finish up, I know I keep going off and off and off here.
We're good, man.
But we were talking about the sunflowers and stuff. Yeah, so we're going this weekend. Me and my girlfriend, we're going to in Carlsbad. They have the sunflower fields, so it's like just an entire field of sunflowers.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, so we're gonna be there Saturday, but I've already I'm working on 2 breweries out there. Like, hey man, like I already planned to record with one in June, but I was like, hey, I'm gonna come down, want to just meet you guys, stuff like that, just introduce myself, and then I was like sneaking my way into another one and telling them like, hey, would you want to record Sunday? And they're like, yeah, we can do that. So I was like, sweet. So I'm going to be able to, because I'm trying to knock out more, like have 3 or 4 in the bank now. Because, there's times where some people cancel sometimes. And and life gets...
And you get busy.
Yeah, life gets busy. So, I mean, and that's why I would never get upset or anything like that if anybody ever canceled, because it's like, hey, it's all right. We'll you free the next day or free the next week? We'll figure it out.
I tried starting to do the same thing with the stuff for the YouTube channel specifically because I tried to batch record the photography stuff.
Yeah.
But I realized by trying to do 3 or 4 at a time, I wasn't making as good a product.
Yeah.
And I felt like I was doing a disservice to what I was trying to accomplish and what I was trying to do for the breweries, where I was taking shortcuts. And I think the photos came out good anyway, but it was like, all right, you're taking the easy way out by doing X, Y, or Z.
Yeah.
Let's change the channel to just be all about beer rather than just beer photography. Because then if you tune into the channel, and this is for anybody, but you'll see things where I'm teaching you about where a stout glass came from and when you should use it, or the difference in the IPA glass.
Yeah.
So it's like, those are things I can record pretty quickly, but still serve a purpose.
Oh,
I'm not just phoning it in. I'm like, hey, I didn't know this about nucleated IPA glasses.
Yeah.
And then, but doing the photography, it was like, all right, take your time with it instead, because this is really your core business, right? Don't just phone this in for YouTube or Instagram.
Oh, of course.
Make sure you're doing the right thing.
Yeah. And that's why, I want to put as much time and attention and love into any of this, whether it's a story that I have to stuff that I'm making, because I don't know if you saw last week, I made that one, just a picture, just it said the Taproom Podcast, beer, sports interviews, whatever.
Yeah.
I want to put as much love into whether it's an interview like this, or whether it's a picture like that, or a reel that I'm going to make, that'll make for this eventually when this comes out in a couple of weeks. Being able to do something like this, be able to, have genuine conversations, and it's nice too. And I probably sound like a broken record because I know I say it all the time, but other than essentially you and I texting, messaging on, on IG.
Yeah.
Never had a conversation in our lives, but we're, it's that, like we said earlier, that bar element. You can sit down in a bar, say you and I were both Phillies fans. We sit down in a craft brewery and we're, watching the game. We're, high-fiving each other because we're kicking, hopefully the Phillies are kicking somebody's ass. And you can have a genuine conversation. And, you get to meet people and, kind of, because people nowadays, I feel especially, I'm not just trying to shit, not shit on, but I mean, not talk trash about people some people in California. but I mentioned it on last week's episode where you could go hiking or like, you know, in Kansas and say, hey, you know, hi, good morning. But you do that, you know, you do that in California, they're like, people just keep their head down and keep on walking. It's like, man, I'm just trying to be polite.
Same thing here.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the same thing here.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's so easy to be nice.
Yeah.
It's actually harder to ignore people,
Exactly.
right? Because it takes effort to ignore the person saying hi.
Yeah.
Whereas if they say hi, you just go, hey.
Yeah.
Like, you don't even have to look at them. Just, hey, just acknowledge to some degree.
Yeah. And I'll always do that. I'll always say hi, like, or good morning, something like that.
Yeah.
Just be nice. You know?
And that was kind of the onus when I reached out to you.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, like, I listen to the show.
Yeah.
It's cool. It's good time. Seems like a good dude.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if he actually wants to talk to me, but I'm going to throw it out there and let's have a conversation.
Yeah. And
if worst thing, I make a new friend.
Yeah. And I think I responded within about, you know, pretty quickly from what I remember.
Yeah. It's like 2 minutes. I was like, holy shit.
Yeah. I mean, because, like, that's the thing. Like, and one of the things I say is, like, you know, I'll mention, like, hey, if you're interested in Instagram Spotlight, send me your stuff. Or, like, just send me a message. We'll talk about it. Because I genuinely mean that. Like, I'm not saying, I'm saying it because, like, I want to be able to have these conversations. Because, what if I'm traveling? Like, this isn't just, like, you know, a thing about beer. What if I travel to Philly? Or what if I go to, you know, Chicago? Or what if I go to Florida? You know, all these different places. Like, I want to know where to go.
Right.
And for
100%.
Yeah, and for people listening, like, you know, it's about the beer, but it's also about the location. It's about the people. It's about, you know, all that sort of stuff.
I mean, what the cool thing about what I loved what you're doing, especially with the Instagram spotlights, not just the brewery tours and things like that, is you're kind of building this nationwide community of just these craft beer people in all walks of life who do different things. And you've got people who do, you know, the vlogging, the candles, you've got brewers, you've got all these different types of people.
Yep.
And everybody's like, let's just talk. Let's, you know, let people know about this place that if you looked on a map, you're never going to hear about the small little microbrewery, you know, like Mad Princess down the street from me. You're not going to see that on a map unless you come to my very specific area of Bucks County that, I mean, there's some really cool stuff around here, but you're probably not coming here.
Yeah.
You're going to Philadelphia. Yeah. But there's some awesome breweries around here.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Like, that's one of the things, too. It's like people are like, oh, I'm going to be in Philly next week. Maybe I'll go to that one place that, you know, that he mentioned. He said it was only 20 minutes away. They have great beer. And they have food trucks.
Yeah.
So to me,
I mean, I could rattle off 12 right now. I'm not going to do that, but you know, we'll put it in the description or something.
No, and that's awesome to me, man. Like, honestly, like I said, this has been so much fun. And I know like I said before, we finished like probably 5 times already. But
we'll edit a couple of them.
It's all good. That's one of the things.
I know you don't, and I love that.
I don't edit really. I honestly, I
know.
I'll edit little things, but I love to just to keep the conversation real, because I mean that's
real.
Yeah, that's what it is when you're in the bar, you know, or in the brewery. So.
And I think that speaks to, you know, the following that you've grown. It's because it's genuine. Yeah. It's not, you're not doing an interview of, you know, an industry expert or anything. You're just like, hey, I found this guy online. Yeah. And, you know, he also likes beer. Let's talk about it.
Yeah. And that's why I love it, because it's like at least for me, it's like the perfect mixture of, people that just, you know, the Instagram spotlight stuff, where it's just, you know, people that love beer, and then the brewers, owners, and all that stuff too, because then you can you hear their story, because it's all a similar journey, or a similar destination. Everybody's going to the same destination, just the journey is different.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. I'm a huge burger nut. So
I know.
I didn't mean to ask you. Yeah, and I always ask on the show, but what is the best burger in Philly? Or is there a specific style that like maybe only people order in Philly?
I don't know that there's a specific style that people in Philly order. I mean, we have a lot of like kitchen sink burgers and things like that, which I think are just, you know, nationwide, where you just throw
everything but the kitchen sink.
Yeah, exactly. You know, there's a fried egg on there. There's a pork roll, things like that. So,
tell me about the pork roll.
Yeah. So I was going to say that's probably the thing that would separate us from other places with their burgers is, and this isn't every burger, so don't come to Philly and expect this.
It's okay.
But there's usually a couple places that throw pork roll on a burger, which is this just thin sliced. It should be thin sliced.
It's almost like bologna,
I don't
right?
even know how to describe it.
In a way.
It's different than bologna.
Yeah.
It looks like it. It's different. Different.
Yeah.
Different. That beer
It
hit a
happens
little
with the
bit.
vegetables.
I'm not a huge bologna person. I even went to college out in bologna country.
Okay.
But pork rolls some people call it Taylor ham, which is ridiculous, and I will die on this hill.
I love it.
That is a brand,
Yeah.
not the product. Similar to rollerblades, so get your facts straight, people.
There you go.
So pork roll is just this thin sliced piece of pork. I mean, it's not white pork. It's kind of like bacon, just in a different format.
It looks so good.
It's so good. So we do like pork roll sandwiches and things like that out here, pork roll and cheese. So you'll see that on some burgers. Best burger in Philly. I honestly, COVID hit. I haven't been to Philly, like in town, to really get burgers in a while. There's this place in, so I live near a place called Peddler's Village, which is kind of this underrated little town city in Bucks County. People may have heard of New Hope. It's in that area.
Star Wars. I get
so
it.
it's lots of.
I'm kidding.
Yeah. one of my original favorite movies.
There you go.
But it's got cute little shops and things like that, great restaurants. But there's this place called Buttonwood Grill in Peddler's Village that makes a phenomenal burger.
Okay.
So if you are out in this area, Buttonwood Grill for burgers. If you're in Philly, get a roast pork sandwich.
Sounds amazing.
That's the way to go. But burgers, you'll get a good burger almost anywhere.
Yeah.
Philly's dining scene it's really goddamn good at this point. So
awesome.
You'll get a good meal almost anywhere you go. People know how to use Yelp.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, thank you again, Anthony. I'm going to butcher your last. Kazlauskas?
Kazlauskas, awesome.
I nailed it? Okay. I thought for sure.
Oh, yeah. First person in a long time to get it.
Thought for sure I was going to butcher that. But no, this has been an absolute blast. Really, thank you. Honestly, thank you for just reaching out because, like I said, like, for people listening now for the Instagram Spotlight stuff, if you ever want to be on the show or just, talk some beer, send me a message. Like, Anthony's Living Proof, Romeo and Juliet, all, Emily, Lydia, just being able to have a good conversation. And this has been, so much fun. And can you plug your Instagram for me one more time?
Yeah, absolutely. So on Instagram, it's Kazoto Photo. It goes Kazoto Photo. If you're on YouTube, I think you could probably search under the same thing where it's all things beer. And then, if you don't mind, if you're a brewery or somebody who works at a brewery and needs some photography help, it's kazotophoto.com. Reach out. I want to help you guys grow. That's why I got into this. So let me know.
100%. Yeah. And if you guys, any breweries in the Philly area or around the surrounding areas,
anywhere.
Yeah. He does some amazing work and I love all of his stuff. So yeah, definitely reach out to him if you have the chance.
Thanks, man.
Yeah. But this has been an absolute blast. And all you guys that are listening, we're going to keep chit-chatting off air. So I hope you enjoy this, but stay tuned for an article from the Bro Code. All right, guys. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed that. Got some good episodes coming up. The Virgin Beer is next week. That's going to be it was a super fun episode when me and Veto went down there. We also went to the fair yesterday. That was pretty fun. We had some beers, a lot of fried food. Had some deep fried Twinkies, some deep fried Oreos, cheese curds. What else? Australian potatoes with cheese and like nacho cheese and bacon. Delightful. Next week it'll be Virgin. Next year, if you're in the LA area, go support the fair. Go eat some fried food. Might feel like hell after, but it's worth it. All right. And again, thank you again one more time to Anthony Kazlauskas for being on the show. Hope you guys enjoyed that. And the Bro Code article of the week is Article 25. A bro doesn't let another bro get a tattoo, particularly
a tattoo of a girl's name. It says, Barney Stinson's field guide to tattoos. Tattoo is, it shows an arm and it says future ex-girlfriend on it. And it says, hey everybody, look at me. Not only have I made the foolish mistake of choosing a lifetime of monogamy, but I have permanently branded myself as off limits. Hope you guys enjoyed the episode. Take care.